everybody. Welcome to Studio 7. I'm Mercedes.
Hello, I'm Matt. What's going on?
What? Oh, hi, Matt.
Hi.
I do know you.
I know. It's been a minute. It has been a minute.
So I have to ask you,
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm just here, man. I'm just
Yeah.
here. It happens so fast. It's incredible. You just go, 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 go. And you are so focused on one thing. And you start it in July. And then it just comes to an end. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit of shock. It's a little bit of confusion of what happens now. And you almost just have to get reacclimated to, okay, like I've been in the office this week.
Yeah.
I'm never here. It's an adjustment just being back here, basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now my days look different. My schedule looks different. And there's like so many just human things that you need to figure out. I have a routine of during the season. Okay, you're off this days. You're usually gone
Yeah,
these days.
yeah.
This is what you're going on. That all goes out the window. So now you're like
Yeah.
learning how to refunction a little bit for the
Yeah.
next couple months until you start it all over again.
Well, and you've been doing this for how many years?
Covering that team specifically, probably in some capacity since 2016. I started covering them a little bit in 2014, but it wasn't on a regular basis.
Yeah.
In 2016, I started really covering
Yeah.
sports, specifically the Bills and the Sabres. And then it really, really got crazy in like 2018. That's when it was
Yeah.
probably a day-to-day basis. So it's
Yeah.
been a while. I mean, I've spent more of my professional career covering the Buffalo Bills pretty extensively
Yeah.
than anything else.
And this is neat that we get to talk about this because I'm sure the folks at home that see you
Yeah.
every Bills game on their TV don't think, what happens when the season is over for
Yeah.
Bove or any of the
Yeah.
guys that do what you do.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting way of thinking of it because you do this. This is your every year.
Yeah, and you shift your focus, and it's interesting because the NFL has become such a 24/7 business.
Yeah, yeah.
It's 365. It doesn't stop. So even though the Bill season has come to an end,
It just slows down a little
it
bit.
slows
right?
down and it changes. So you go from talking about what has happened to what could happen and what you think should happen. So it's interesting how the focus shifts to, okay, the season is done. Now you're done talking about what happened in the games and where
Yeah.
they go from here. And now you focus to how do they get over the hump? What do they need to do better next year? How do they improve? How do they build their team? But the way the NFL works is,
That's a lot of speculation.
it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of conversation. And that's what journalism is, at least in a television sense, turned into. It's you need to inform people and you need to
Yep.
tell them what's going on in an unbiased way. You also, though, need to share your opinions at times about what you
Yeah,
think needs
yeah,
to
yeah.
happen and why it should happen. So the season comes to an end, and then all of a sudden, everything starts to pick up again in a month. There's really not off time. I mean, the Super Bowl is next weekend, and then after
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Super
yeah.
Bowl, the NFL Combine, which is where everybody meets to kind of reconvene. I would say it's kind of like their summer break has come to an end and let's get back to work type deal
Yeah,
is what the
yeah, yeah,
Combine
yeah.
is. It's like the first week of school. That's in late February. Then after that, free agency starts. So teams can start to sign new players and they can make additions and they can
Yeah.
trade players. That's in the middle of March. Then there's the NFL draft in April. Then after
You made me think things slowed down.
no, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's much less routine oriented,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
honestly something that I genuinely struggle with. I like having a routine, even if it's chaos. I would much rather have a chaotic routine than have no routine. And that is why these are usually the hardest months for me.
Yeah.
It's just, first off, the weather stinks. Can't really be outside a ton. And it's
Not
like
Buffalo.
it's like a hint of seasonal depression mixed in with a hint of an identity crisis of trying to figure out what you were supposed to be
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah.
on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So how does it change your family? I mean, because you have a little more time to be with your family now, right?
It's exciting. That is exciting, but it also complicates it a little bit, which sounds weird. But when they're in the season, I'm always working Sundays. So to offset my Sundays that I'm working, I usually take a day off during the week. Now I won't really have that ability, which now means we have to find somebody to watch our daughter on the days that I was normally home. So in the season,
So,
if I'm traveling, I take off Tuesday, Friday. Those are my days off during the season.
Yeah.
They're very weird, but it works because you take off Tuesday, you take off Friday. On Saturday, you travel. On Sunday, you cover the game.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, those are crazy. Now, if I'm always working, or most Tuesdays and Fridays I'm working, those are now 2 more days that we have to figure out
Yeah.
childcare for our daughter. And she's
Yeah.
almost 2. So that becomes a little bit tricky too. So it's a really nice balance during the season. If we get a lot of help, we've got a lot of, like we've got a kind of plan in place.
Yeah.
But now you need to refigure out that stuff because because that's a lot to put on. It's not like it's a
is.
day.
It
Another
is.
2 days is when you're already getting help from your parents on both sides. It's, hey, can you do another day? Like my mom still works. It's hard to be like, hey,
Yeah.
can you do another day a week? Or her mom, hey,
Yeah.
can you do a third day of the week? That's a lot to ask for
It is.
people.
It
So
is.
now we try and figure out and navigate how we can make it work.
And you know what? I'm sure folks at home are like, we didn't realize that this is, these are the ups and downs. I mean, we deal with it in life outside of work too.
It's no
but
different. It's no different than any
Yeah.
other career work-life balance conversation.
Yeah.
The schedule is just, I get paid to talk about sports.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But the thing about sports is they happen when other people aren't working.
Yeah.
Typically.
That's true.
So then
That's true.
that throws a little bit, and it's always the schedules are very all over the place. I say I have a routine, but the routine gets thrown off.
have a
by,
crazy routine.
I have a crazy routine, but the routine gets thrown off by, oh, they play on a Thursday night. Oh, they play on Sunday night. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they play on Monday night. Oh, they're in this city. They're in this city. They're in this city. So the routine is somewhat predictable once the schedule comes out, which is in May, but it's still. It's a big adjustment that happens for these next couple weeks.
And you're a huge Bills fan, as we all are. But you're a huge Bills fan. How do we cycle through the emotions after?
I wouldn't say I'm a Bills fan actually.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't feel like in my position you can be. I think
Okay.
to journalistically cover a team, you need to take yourself out of it as much as possible. I would be lying if I said I grew up a Bills fan. When
Yeah.
you grow up in this community,
Yeah.
you were a Bills fan. But in order to do my job, you have to be able to be objective, and you at times need to be critical. It's
Yeah.
just the way that it works.
Yeah.
So I certainly would not call myself a fan, but I would say, I'm a fan of the community, and I want to see things happen that make people in the community happy. You
That's a good way to say
you
it.
root for good stories. You root for the people who you get to know, and all of these things along the way. So that's when it's like, oh man. Like, my family, they're Bills fans,
yeah,
you
yeah.
want people to be happy. So
Yeah.
then you're adjusting and you're like, oh, how cool would this be for the city?
Yeah.
And then for the team to come so close yet again and ultimately fall short, I understand how much people are hurting and I
Yeah.
empathize with that.
Yeah. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Studio 7. So we're talking about the Bills season kind of being over, what
Yeah.
happens in life after. What else changes in life for you?
Ooh. I got to figure out what I can do in my free time, which is there's not a ton of it, but it's exciting to now have a little bit of free time.
Yeah.
That changes though, because now free time was different pre Ellie. Like now that
Oh,
we have
yeah,
a
that-
daughter,
yeah.
there really isn't free time.
Well, free time is from work, not from.
Free time is
Yeah,
from
yeah,
work
yeah.
is easier than a lot of times work is
It is
easier
true.
than being
That is
home.
true.
Nobody tells you this until you have a child, and I love her more than anything, and I would do anything for her.
Yeah.
But it is harder to be at home and entertain her for 6-7 hours of the
Yep.
day than it is to be here
100%.
and be quiet. So shout out to like anybody who stays home, because I think like there's this notion that like those people have, that's not the case at all.
No.
That's even more work. So yeah, I'll have a little bit more flexibility and free time with the things that I get to do and the places we get to go together as
Yeah.
a family, which
Yeah.
will be nice. It'll be a lot less nights, which is exciting. Most days I'll probably work here until 6:30.
Nice.
That's the one thing that's tricky about the 6 o'clock news is you do the 6 o'clock news, but then you go home at 7 by
Yeah.
the time you get home. And then after that, it's like she goes to
Game
bed
over.
at 7:30. So there's really not that much time to be with her at that point. So yeah, it's just like figuring out what you watch on TV. It's figuring.
What do you watch when you're not watching football or sports?
I don't. Legitimately, I don't.
Really?
As crazy as that sounds.
Is it because you just do it so much? You just don't have the.
No, I don't know.
So you don't binge watch anything?
I couldn't tell. The last time I binge watched a show, I had foot surgery, so I couldn't move. So that is the last time that's the last time that I chose to binge watch a show,
Yeah.
and it was The West Wing. And I love that show, so I watched it again. It wasn't even like the first time
Oh my gosh.
You could tell me shows that are on television right now that are popular, and I guarantee that I don't know what they are.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So,
Like what's Abbott Elementary?
oh yes,
That's a popular show.
Absolutely.
On ABC.
yeah.
I have never seen a singular episode.
I'm behind, and I'm actually binge watching to get caught up.
Okay.
On Abbott. I mean, so my husband and I have shows,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, when life is busy, there's times where we say, "Oh my God, I cannot wait till this weekend." So we don't
And then
have
you
anything
binge
to do.
but
and we
then you binge watch shows?
Yeah, I cook. make food for everybody, and then everybody just kind of binge watches whatever especially if the whole family's been running around. Oh yeah.
My one vice is, I'll say this: I watch Sabres games regardless if I'm working, if I'm not working, whatever it is. I watch every single Sabres game in some capacity. So those are, if they play at 7:00, usually I'll watch the first period, put Ellie to bed, and then I'll make something for dinner or do whatever. So I watch the Sabres games, but I just don't really watch television very often. I'm not saying it's a bad. I wish I did more. There hasn't been something that has been like, ooh, I need to see that. And a lot of the times when I have that free time, it is dedicated towards sports again. Part of that is like, hey, you're a sicko, you love sports. The other part of it
but that's your passion.
But the other part of it is also making sure that you're knowledgeable. I can't tell you how many times this year I watched videos of film breakdowns on the Buffalo Bills, trying to learn about why these things happen, why those things happen, just so you're better informed and you can do your job better. But it's a passion that a lot of people share. You don't have to be in this profession to have that same passion.
Right.
So that's how you spend a lot of your time. It's mostly on the YouTube app on the smart TV, honestly, of like watching people talk about football and break things down to football. We have cable, but like I don't really use it.
You still have cable?
We still have cable at my house.
What?
Yeah, we still have cable, and it costs a lot of money, man.
Well, that's why we stream.
Yeah, but that costs just as much.
Well, my husband has bought every streaming, and I'm like, dude.
And then it adds up to being the same thing. Yeah. Honestly, the big reason I have cable is because of the Sabres. Because you need MSG to watch the Sabres games most nights, and the MSG app is $30 a month or something like that, which is nuts. Cable is expensive, but
it's only $500 a month.
I bet for you know what? I don't even know it. I bet for cable and internet, we
were doing like $250 before it was expensive.
I bet for cable and internet we pay $150 a month.
How?
Is that crazy?
We were over 200 before we stopped a few years ago with Wi-Fi, and it's expensive.
I feel like the number that's in my head is 220, but I almost think that includes my cell phone. Because we have Spectrum. So I feel like my cell phone, my wife's cell phone, our cable, and our internet is $220 a month all in for all of those things.
It's a lot of money.
It's an absurd amount of money. Yeah. I understand the concept of cutting the cord. It is ridiculous.
But cutting the cord is now equally as expensive because everyone has a streaming service.
It is ridiculous that I haven't done it, especially for somebody. But the only thing I watch on TV is sports.
Yeah.
And when you don't have cable, it's hard to watch sports in the way that you would be able to if you cut the cord. Like I know ESPN Plus is a thing, and I know there's a lot of different options out there, but then I'm talking about just as much as cable with all of the different things that I would have to have on my TV.
Are you secretly hoping that your daughter loves sports just as much as you?
That's a great question. If she has a passion for it, I will certainly feed that passion, but it will never be forced on her because I feel like if you forced something on her, she would then resent it.
Yeah, just not. Yeah.
And there's no reason to do that. Yeah. My wife loves sports. I love sports. Chances are she's going to grow up probably loving sports. Yeah. If she doesn't, great. Maybe she'll take me down a lane in an alley that I've never been before with something that she is passionate about, and that would be cool. But if it's something that she loves, then that would be something we could bond over. That's the one thing that I love so much about sports is that they do genuinely bring people together.
They do.
They bring people together from different communities, from different religions, from different races, from different backgrounds, and that is the thing that is so powerful about sports. And when you talk about our community, obviously there's a lot of teams that bring people together, but the Bills is like this umbrella that so many people are sitting under, and it's just they love this team so much. And that's why these weeks are so hard of like, okay, well, there's no emotion stronger than hope to me. I feel like that is the strongest. I feel like that might be you could say love, you could say sadness, there's a lot of different things. To me, there's nothing more powerful than hope, and I feel like that is what this community feels about that team. Or absolutely. Sports fans in general feel about their teams. There's always hope. And that's the thing that's like so powerful to me.
Well, I have more questions, but we'll be right back.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Studio 7. So before we move on, I would love to know, what is the sense you're getting from the community? After this season, like, are we still hopeful? Because I know you said hope is a powerful emotion.
This is going to sound incredibly dramatic. Okay. I don't want this to be dramatic. The Bills season coming to an end is a lot like grief. It is a lot like dealing with the loss of somebody.
It is.
This community is going through the cycles right now. It starts with shock, then turns to sadness, then turns to anger, then to confusion, then back to sadness. That is legitimately what's going to happen for the next several months. When we,
but would you say this year is more intense than the previous years?
This year is more intense because this team exceeded expectations. And then once we realized how good they were, then the hope starts to really get crazy.
Yep.
It's so different when there's not expectations.
Yeah.
Pressure is a privilege. That's the line that people always say. For so long, it felt like, okay, there's something different about this team. It truly felt like that.
Yeah.
And then for their season to end in a 3-point loss to a team that has won the last 2 Super Bowls, very clearly they are in the they're just right behind them, right there. So for them to not be over the hump, I think is going to make this pain for the community last probably a bit longer than it normally otherwise would. I do think we will look back on this past season in probably a few months as, wow, what a year that was. There was a lot of really fun wins. Josh Allen was exceptional. There were so many big moments for this team, and I think that will help them moving forward. But it's going to be painful for a while for a lot of people. And that's to be expected, because when you care about something so much, for it to end so abruptly, I know is going to be tricky for people.
So outside of football and the Sabres,
Yeah.
do you watch any other sports?
I watch occasionally basketball. I used to be much more into just the sport of hockey, but honestly, I think the Sabres being pretty bad for a lot of time kind of took me. I just don't casually watch hockey anymore.
Yeah.
I used to if I got home or if I was on my couch. I'd be like, oh, there's 2 teams playing, I'll throw on the game. I don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
College or NBA for basketball?
More NBA than college. I'll watch college basketball during the conference tournaments and then during March Madness and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do love golf also, but I don't watch golf regularly. I watch golf when there's big events. There's the 4 majors for golf. So I'll watch the 4 majors and some of the other tournaments on the weekends, but those are like Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of adjustments that you make. All of a sudden, this sounds ridiculous, but like all of a sudden church now is a factor. I'm not, but like,
I get it for you,
but
though.
Sundays are kind of unavailable, and a lot of Saturdays are also unavailable if I'm traveling. So now we'll get back into our routine of, we'll go to church on Sundays. We'll probably go to breakfast or something afterwards. Like these are the things that now all of a sudden for the next 5 months you do, and then you get into that routine, and then by the time you're in that routine, it changes, and then you go back to what you were doing before.
Yeah. And see, I don't think about stuff like that because I don't have to do what you do, but people normally wear their jerseys to church and then go home and watch the game, but you're already there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes sense.
A typical game day for me, so the last game they played, the AFC Championship in Kansas City, we left the hotel to go to the stadium at noon. The game was at 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern Time. So I was there about 5.5 hours before the game. And then I finished working probably 1:30 in the morning, 1 in the morning. So, I mean, it's a 12-hour day. It's, once again, talking and writing about sports. It's not like I'm looking for empathy or anything like that.
Yeah.
But they're long days. And then, it makes Monday trickier because you're exhausted from the day before, and then there's travel mixed in, so you're always feeling like you're catching up, and then you get rejuvenated, and then you do it all over again. I'm going to be much more baseline probably for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. It will be neat to see if your daughter grows up and chooses to do sports, and like what you would be like. What if she chooses basketball? What if she chooses lacrosse?
I would love that. I would love that. I would love for her to go down a path that is not a place that I'm super familiar with. So then it would be something that I could learn about, or I could get more involved in.
Where you'd be the dad. Hey, can we have your dad behind the booth?
Yeah, right.
Her games, you'll be calling.
No, you can't. Or pay me. I'm just kidding. That's terrible.
You'd be that dad.
Yeah.
Because your dad is so cool. I mean, he does this, so have him.
It's funny.
That would be fun.
You think about these things like she's not even 2 yet, but am I still doing this when she is in elementary school? Is there like the career day stuff that you have to do?
Oh, absolutely.
Your mind starts to go to these places that I have never even thought about.
It's going to be really fun.
She's nuts now. She's like so full of energy and has a little personality and will tell us what she wants and how she wants them. And it's a lot. It's adorable, though.
Yeah.
She'll just, every day, she'll wake up and I open the door to her room and the dog runs in. She goes, Harper, hi. Our dog is Harper. Harper, hi. Harper, hi. Then I'll take her out of her crib and she just sits there and she doesn't exactly know how to hug, but she sticks her head all the way down to Harper and pushes it into her. And they like sit there and they like kind of nudge each other for a little while. And then she'll go downstairs. She goes, Daddy, color. Daddy, color. I mean, she wants to color.
You just wait until they're 10.
Oh, I can't even
And they're
imagine.
telling you everything that's on their mind.
And then
And then start calling you bruh.
Bruh?
Yeah, bruh. They call you bruh.
And then I'll get her out. We'll be in a more routine. I usually have her in the mornings, regardless of the time of year. And I'll get her downstairs and I'll give her something to drink. And then she'll look at me and she'll go, one of two things. She likes oatmeal and she likes eggs.
Steel cut?
Steel cut. She'd be your girl. She likes steel cut. She likes steel cut oatmeal and she really likes eggs. So if it's an egg day, she'll be like, Daddy egg.
I like her.
Daddy egg.
I like her.
And if she wants oatmeal, she'll be like, meal. It's
she
time.
says meal.
She goes, meal. Meal. And then I look at her and I go, what do we say? And she goes, please. Please. And then when I give it to her, what do we say? Thank you. So she's learning.
These are the moments. Cherish them, because it's gonna go from meal to, can we get McDonald's, bruh?
Yeah, bruh.
Bruh, can we get McDonald's?
Wow.
You just wait.
You know, McDonald's sounds awesome. So, yeah, I'm in on that.
You just wait. I mean, I absolutely love it. Well, we're glad to. I mean, not glad for what happened for the season.
Yeah,
glad to.
I say you watch your words. You're gonna make a lot of people upset.
No. But glad to see you more.
And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be in a little bit of a routine. I'm excited to kind of, when you go so hard for so long, it's nice to kind of ease back into it. I'm gonna try and nap for a little bit this weekend.
You deserve
awesome.
it.
Thank you.
You deserve it.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching Studio 7. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.